Here's my review of Legends of the Fall. An amazing movie, a movie I really love, a movie I've loved ever since I was a kid, and I saw it when I was just a boy in the 90s. I think it's an ultra manly movie. I think it's a super manly movie, even though it's about love, and even though you have that whole plot about Julia Ormond loving, Brad Pitt's character Tristan. Spoiler alert: this is gonna be um, there may be some spoilers here. There may be. So I won't give away extremely crazy aspects of it, but I'll talk about the movie as if you've watched it at least one time because you probably have. If you haven't, then quit this video now. Doesn't matter. It's not a movie where you care about spoilers, but stop watching this video now and go and watch that movie because it's a great movie, excellent movie. So who plays in that movie? We have Julia Ormond. I initially heard about Julia Ormond. The first time I ever saw her when I watched First Night, I think a few years before Legends of the Fall, also in the 90s, with Richard Gere and that famous actor, the guy who played James Bond, Sean Connery. So they played in First Night. Julia Ormond was good there. Then I think she's a good actress, good decent actress. She had an interesting role as Susana, Miss Susana Fincannon, um, on Legends of the Fall. Miss Susana Fincannon at first, of course, later on, she would no longer be a Ms. or a Fincannon, but we have Brad Pitt playing Tristan, right? Tristan Ludlow. We have Aidan Quinn. I think that's how you say his name. It's not Aiden, right? Aiden. I really like that actor. I really like the role he plays, and I really like the actor's kind of. I like his look, and I like his demeanor in general, right? I don't know if he's like that in real life. I've actually never seen him anywhere else. Period. Besides inside that movie, inside um, in the dude, my memory's going crazy. I forgot what movie I'm reviewing even. In the movie Legends of the Fall, I've only seen him in Legends of the Fall. Um, so, and I really like him. I just like the character, and I like the approach, the demeanor, and the look of that guy. I don't know why. There's something about him that really I like a lot. Brad Pitt, I just cannot get into his acting. I know they say, Roger Ebert's review actually of this movie said that it was pretty good acting for Brad Pitt, but to be honest, I wasn't a fan of Brad Pitt's acting. Not a big fan of Brad Pitt's acting. Um, I think I don't know. Maybe I have to watch some more of his stuff. But so we have Brad Pitt, we have Aidan Quinn, and then we have a powerhouse of an actor. Somebody that I generally like, but somebody that I think is just a powerhouse on this role, even though it's a bit of a side role, right? It's not a major role, it's kind of a minor role. And that's Colonel Ludlow, played by I don't know if we even hear his name. I think we always hear him referred to as Colonel Ludlow, and I think that, oh my goodness, my memory today is just terrible. What a wild thing. I really need to work on my memory. That's a key thing. He's played by, I want to say Sean Connery, but it's not, right? He reminds me of Sean Connery for some reason, but no, he's played by Anthony Hopkins. That's who he's played by. Somebody I consider an excellent, a truly excellent actor, and I would say his role in this movie is played excellently, and he's an excellent actor in this movie. Excellent. Colonel Ludlow just is wonderful. From the first scene until the very last scene that had me pretty much bawling in tears. From that, just, oh my God, that entire movie. He steals every scene, basically. Even when he's not talking. Just Anthony Hopkins in that movie. I love it. It works for me, his approach. Then you have other minor actors, which I don't know. Doesn't matter. So the main ones are Anthony Hopkins, Brad Pitt, Julia Ormond, and for me, Aidan Quinn, playing Alfred. So we have Alfred, we have Tristan, the two bros. We have another bro named Samuel. He's the younger bro, and we have one Miss Susana Fincannon, who is initially the fiance of the younger bro, and then she, I mean, a bunch of things transpire. She ends up marrying Aidan Quinn. She ends up being deeply in love with um, Tristan, with that Brad Pitt character. But when I was watching it with my lady the whole time was saying, "Why the fuck isn't this lady just bouncing off the farm? Time for her to get off the farm." Once Samuel died and Tristan bounced on his like multi-year crazy sabbatical, time to get off the farm. Okay, you didn't get off the farm. Fine, fine, fine. When Tristan sends you a letter saying all we had is dead, marry another. Get off the farm. Get off the farm, Susanna. But she didn't get off the farm, right? And she came to a very tragic and sad end, right? And most of the people here seem to have come to a tough, rough end, right? It's not a great ending overall. But the ending of the movie, the ending from when, after Susanna dies, and and Tristan is sitting there and talking with his pops about like how he cursed God when Samuel died, and how the curse kind of cursed the overall family. That kind of touches on the title of the book on which the movie is based, Legends of the Fall. The fall meaning the biblical fall, the fall from heaven, the fall from grace. Our fall, their fall, all the falls, meaning that fall. Also meaning the fall when in the 60s and 70s people were seeing older generations, specifically the old generation from the Old West, the generation that fought in World War One, not World War Two, World War One, and that was pretty much all gone and dying. And they kind of heard those stories, and in a sense, they felt that America had fallen since that time. America's fall, and all the nastiness and just darkness and terribleness that were introduced in simple Americans' lives after the fall, meaning after the fall, after World War II, after Prohibition and the rise of crime in America because of Prohibition, and all that stuff is in the movie. That's another way to see the title. So Legends of the Fall, that family's fall. Legends of the Fall, American society's fall, in a sense, right? And then we see Tristan at the end, in his 70s or something, in the 1960s, dying, Legends of that fall. And then also Legends of the Fall, meaning the fall as in, the seasons. Now, when it was translated to some languages, this movie, and the title was translated, I've read that they translated Legends of the Fall to Legends of the Autumn. Legends of the Fall as in the season fall. So, like in another language, you could read it and imagine it would say Legends of the Autumn. So if you read Legends of the Autumn, you're not going to be confused about what the fall means, right? Fall is such an interesting term because you can have so much poetic meaning behind it. But if they chose Legends of the Autumn, that would be self-explanatory, but they didn't, right? They didn't. So this movie is a masculine movie. I watched it with a lady friend of mine, and um, I watched it with a few women overall in my life. A few lady friends. I watched it with my woman, and I watched it with my mom as well years ago. And I'd say it's a man's movie. I'd say it's a man's movie now. A lot of men are gonna misinterpret the love story for the overall picture of the movie, and I think most men would foolishly misunderstand and misinterpret this as a love story when it's not a love story at all. When it can be interpreted as a warrior story, as a true warrior story. I have so much to say about this movie. Now, let's talk about two other aspects. The warrior aspect, I'll jump right back to it. One other minor aspect I want to mention before I forget, it popped into my head here. The warrior is the main part, so I'm going to jump to that right after this. But one interesting aspect is that if you consider Tristan Ludlow as the main character here, it's quite wild that at some points he's completely gone from the story. Not for very long, but sometimes he's completely gone. Now, some people wouldn't even say Tristan is the main character. They'd say the family's the main character. Susanna's the main character. No, Tristan is the main character in Legends of the Fall, and he bounces, he goes. So imagine a movie or a show where the character is not there. The main character of the movie is just not there. Pretty, mm, Is it ultra provocative? Is it ultra out there? No, not in 2022, not in 2023. But in 94, in the 90s, it was a pretty interesting and forward way to go. I think that's cool from an artistic movie standpoint. Now, back to the warrior thing. Back to the warrior thing. One of the most important characters is One Stab. One Stab. He's a Native American man, an Indian man. I forgot what tribe. They mentioned the tribe he's from. But he's a Native American Indian man who's a very close friend, or I think the best friend of Colonel Ludlow. And so he lives on the farm with them. And he's like almost like a parent in a way, or like a family, an uncle to all the kids, to all the boys, but particularly to one boy, right? The other boys do their own things, kind of. But Tristan and him are bonded, bonded deeply. And he teaches him all his warrior ways. And you have a lot of scenes showing that in the early times, like Tristan going out trying to catch a bear and then getting a bear's claw. Um, you just have a ton of scenes where the relationship between Tristan and One Stab is just so, I mean, so obvious, right? Tristan deeply, deeply loves One Stab. One Stab deeply loves Tristan. And they both understand what it means to be a warrior. Now, Colonel Ludlow may kind of understand what it means to be a warrior, but not everyone in their life does understand what it means to be a warrior. And surely not everyone understands what it means to just have a raging, like, craziness inside you, inside your heart, inside your mind. One Stab being a warrior, he does understand that. He tries to help Tristan tame it. And that theme is present throughout. That theme is present throughout, and especially at the end. And then at the end, that theme is there. Plus, you have additional themes like family, manliness, manhood, love, surrender. In all those themes combined, I mean, and they just create a situation at the end where this is the one of the most out of all the movies. If I list all the movies where I'm gonna fucking cry like a maniac at the end of it, this would be in the top five. I will bawl at the end of this movie. So this is truly a stunning movie in my opinion. Yeah, the acting is not top notch everywhere, but it's decent. Yeah, there's a lot of like weird things that happen where the writing's a bit off. Where if I was gonna be helping them write it, I would make it more concrete and make it a little more tight. But the themes are so excellent that they're just so rarely discussed in American movies. These themes, in my opinion, that oh man, they're just so rarely discussed, and it's such a tragedy in North America, in Mexico, in Canada, and in the United States. These themes that were part of this continent, part of this land before the Europeans came. These kind of approaches to living, warriorship, an understanding, and a surrender, and death. Just so many incredible themes in this movie that when you intertwine that Native American aspect into it, it really makes it a complete movie from a thematic perspective, and it's just such a rare gem to have all these themes in one movie, in my opinion. It's just such a rare gem. There's just something indescribable about Legends of the Fall. I adore this movie. I think it's not a women's movie. I think it's not a movie for girls. I think it's squarely a man's movie. Yeah, women love this movie. All the women I've watched this movie with loved it. But it's a man's movie. And it's a fucking amazing movie too.